Okay, so today we're diving into something pretty intense, right?
Yeah, definitely intense. Blast radius, epicentry of 1,000 memories.
That's the one by Jaime Hoerricks.
Right.
Now, this piece, it's about feeling unchosen, like really feeling that deep down. And then there's this poem that comes out of it called Unchosen.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff. But it makes you think about your own life, too. Like how many of us have felt that way at some point.
Totally. And the way Jaime writes about it, it's like so visceral. You really feel it.
Yeah, the thing that got me right away is how this whole thing started for them. It's like they're just scrolling Instagram, just a normal day.
Right. Just scrolling along.
And then, bam, this quote just hits them like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a super complicated quote. It's just, we can't force people to choose us.
That's it. Simple, but wow.
But for Jaime, it's not simple at all. It's like this huge explosion in their mind. They even call it a detonation.
Okay, so imagine this, right? You're scrolling, you see this quote, and suddenly all these memories just come flooding back.
Yeah, like a dam breaking. All these times you felt rejected, overlooked, unchosen.
And for Jaime, it's even more intense because of how they process emotions.
Right. They're autistic, trans, and queer. And they talk about how HRT has changed how they experience feelings.
So instead of shutting down, it's like everything just comes rushing in.
Exactly. So this quote, it wasn't just words on a screen. It was like a key that unlocked all this stuff.
And that's what we're trying to understand today. Like, why did this quote hit Jaime so hard?
We're going to go through those memories, see how they connect, and how it all leads to this poem, Unchosen.
Which is almost like a declaration, like, hey, I'm here, I exist, whether you choose me or not.
Definitely. It's about owning your own worth.
So let's go back to that quote. We can't force people to choose us. It's like a punch to the gut for Jaime.
They even talk about their Gestalt processing brain, which basically means their brain makes these instant connections between things.
So one thought triggers a whole flood of others.
Right. And in this case, it's all those times they felt unchosen. Jaime describes it as an 8K film reel playing in their head.
All those moments in super high definition.
And some of these early memories are pretty rough, like being taken from their birth parents and put into a home that was really strict.
They describe it as cold compliance. The message was clear. Children should be seen and not heard.
Which is like the opposite of what kids need, right? They need to feel loved and accepted.
It makes you think about how those early experiences shape us.
Totally. And for Jaime, this feeling of being required but not chosen, it kept coming up throughout their life.
Not just in childhood.
Right. They talk about a recent job where they felt like they were only there to fill a specific role.
Not for who they were, but for what they could do.
It was transactional and conditional is how they put it. Like, we need you for this, but we don't really care about you as a person.
And that's so dehumanizing, isn't it? To feel like you're just a cog in a machine.
Yeah, it makes you question all your relationships. Like, are people really in my life because they want me there?
And that leads us to this powerful realization. I choose myself.
Not just a thought, more like a...
A detonation, right? Like that initial quote.
Exactly. It's sudden and intense.
Jaime about feeling like they can't even breathe. Like the realization is so huge, it's crushing them.
It's like this truth that was always there, but now it's front and center, undeniable.
And it triggers all these other memories.
Yeah, like a chain reaction.
One that really stands out is the handoff from the social worker. They describe it as a transfer of property.
Dehumanizing, right.
Totally.
And then there's the childhood home, where children should be seen and not heard, was like the law of the land.
Like no room for emotional expression.
No room for just being a kid.
And then in primary school, Jaime's oddness, as they call it, made them a target.
People laughed at their voice.
Imagine how painful that is for a child. To be mocked for something you can't control.
And it feeds into that feeling of being unchosen, right? Like you don't belong because you're different.
Even their adoptive father's advice, which was meant to be helpful, probably added to that feeling.
What was that?
He told them, we don't start fights, but if they do, finish it.
I see what you mean.
Like always be ready to defend yourself.
Yeah, it creates this sense of being on guard, like you're always on the outside.
And it's interesting how that same feeling comes up again in their work experience.
Necessary, not wanted, not needed, not included, just present, a credentialed outsider.
They really nail that feeling of being disposable.
Like your value is based solely on what you can produce.
And then from all this pain comes this incredible line. They choose comfort, they choose sameness. I am neither, and I am not built for erasure.
Powerful.
Jaime says it felt like a roar inside them.
Like this deep acceptance of who they are even if it makes them different.
And the poem becomes their way of fighting back against that erasure.
Survival rendered into verse.
A lifeline forged in fire.
And then, in the middle of all this darkness, there's this bright spot, this email from a friend.
Just a simple message of appreciation.
But for Jaime, it's huge.
Because it's not about what they can do, it's about who they are.
Exactly. Their presence is valued, not just their usefulness.
And it's a reminder that those kinds of connections do exist, even if they're rare.
They talk about working on a paper together and feeling truly included.
Needed, wanted, none is just a checkbox.
Because they belong. And they say autistic, trans, queer, these are enough.
Such a powerful statement.
Makes you wonder why it can't be like that everywhere.
Right. Why is genuine acceptance so hard to find?
But then, boom, reality hits again. Hard.
That feeling of unsafety comes rushing back.
The world feels hostile.
And Jaime starts talking about specific political figures and their rhetoric.
Things that directly threaten their community.
The potential dismantling of the Department of Education, for example.
That's a big one.
It's like all these support systems are being pulled away.
And it makes you feel like you're a target.
A threat. A glitch in the system.
And that's where the poem comes back in, but even stronger this time.
It becomes an act of defiance.
A shield, an incantation.
The words are armor forged in fire, Jaime says.
Each line a refusal to be erased.
And that choice to choose yourself, it echoes louder than all the hate.
There's this idea of Varen's land, where just existing is enough.
No conditions, no expectations, just being.
And now we get to the poem itself, Unchosen.
Those opening lines are so powerful. Taken not, saved from arms that withheld to arms that chilled.
Right from the start, you get this sense of coldness, of not being wanted.
It sets the tone for the whole poem.
And then there's that image of the social worker's hand, clinical, efficient.
No warmth, no connection, just a transaction.
Like being passed from one uncaring place to another.
And the poem goes on to talk about these different environments where Jaime felt like they didn't fit in.
The church pews, the school classrooms.
Places where conformity was valued over individuality.
And then, of course, the workplace. Included when necessary, discarded when convenient. A checkbox, not a colleague.
That feeling of being used, then tossed aside.
But then there's this incredible moment of self-affirmation. Autistic, trans, queer. These are not faults, not flaws, not cloaks I can shed. They are breath, bone, being. I would not erase them. I cannot erase them.
Like, this is who I am, and I'm not going to apologize for it.
And then there's this shift to the natural world.
Where Jaime finds acceptance. I walk with the jackrabbit, the quail, the coyote. They know me. They do not ask what I can offer. In the chaparral, I am not too much. I am not a mistake. I am not alone.
It's like nature provides this sense of belonging that society doesn't.
And the poem ends with this incredibly powerful line. They did not choose me, but I remain whole, and I choose myself.
It's a statement of defiance, of resilience.
Like, you can try to erase me, but I'm still here, and I'm choosing to exist on my own terms.
And after the poem, Jaime talks about other people in their community who are feeling the same way.
Feeling unsafe, wanting to disappear.
It's a reminder that this isn't just one person's experience. It's happening to a lot of people.
And it's scary. The world feels like a dangerous place right now.
Even places that used to feel safe don't anymore.
And Jaime talks about being marooned because of their citizenship status.
They can't just pick up and leave, even if they wanted to.
It's like they're stuck in this situation that feels increasingly threatening.
But even with all of that, there's this refusal to give in to despair.
Jaime talks about their leftist beliefs, their faith in the power of the working class.
It's about finding hope in the possibility of change.
And their decision to stay and write is an act of resistance in itself.
It's about refusing to be silenced, bearing witness for those who can't.
And that last image of planting words like seeds.
So powerful.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, there's always the potential for growth and connection.
So yeah, we went deep on this one.
We did, and I think what we saw is that feeling unchosen, it's a really profound experience.
It can shape your whole life.
But there's also this incredible power in choosing yourself.
In saying, I'm here and I matter.
That detonation of memory, it's like a wake-up call.
It forces you to confront those feelings.
And then seeing how a simple act of kindness, like that email from a friend, can be so healing.
It reminds us that we need those connections.
So for you, the listener, I want you to think about this. When have you felt unchosen?
And how can you choose yourself in those moments?
Because it's an act of strength, an act of defiance.
And maybe even an act of revolution.
Keep planting those seeds.
The world needs them.
And that's our deep dive for today.
Until next time.
Keep thinking deeply.
We'll see you then.